Good morning. I have some stuff to cover here. First, I'd like to say if I insulted anybody with my, I did that comic relief parody on, uh, you may be below 100% poverty guidelines. Look, I wasn't making fun of the poor. I am poor, and I've been poor several times in my life. And a lot of what I used was actually stuff that had happened to me. So, but I swear I only did that underwear thing one time, and for one day we were stuck doing back to back antique shows, really. So it was kind of more a dire necessity thing than it was a poverty thing, but I thought it would make really funny content. So, but like the running out of food and having a bread sandwich, and though we used to do, we always at least had American sliced cheese, and you'd throw some mustard, ketchup, and relish, a piece of cheese between two pieces of bread. But I thought it would be funny if I said a bread sandwich with no bread. It's not funny. As a matter of fact, last night I was watching, it popped up in my YouTube feed about homelessness in Portland, Oregon. And it's very eye-opening. It's extremely alarming and so sad. I guess I was trying to lighten up the whole idea of living below the poverty guideline, but there's really nothing very light about it. But I do have to say one thing. As a person under 100, I'm actually under 100% poverty. How do you do that? The state of Florida has taken very good care of me. I had my food stamps, I had my medical, I had electric help, and a lot of you are probably thinking, is she nuts? Look, I appreciate all the help. Is that a mosquito? No, it's one of those gnats, and he just landed right on my camera. I have gnats, fruit flies. I have a lot of fruit. Anyway, though I'm eating it too rapidly. Oh, I've gone over my calories, I think. What am I doing? I don't know. Sometimes I just want to, snack. I think I'm a nervous wreck, to tell the truth. What was I talking about? Poverty. I'm so sorry. Here I go again. Off on tangents. Poverty, yeah. The reason I'm leaving here, I'm going to reiterate one more time, is because I have a plan. I sold everything off. I'm going to retrieve the money shortly. I'm going to invest most of that money, and I think I may have found a van kind of locally. It's in Seminole, Florida, and I'm hoping to go have a look at that Tuesday. See if it might do what I need it to do. It high mileage. It's a 2005. It's got 147,000 miles on it. But I'm very concerned about the price of gas, and I talked to my kids about it, and they're like, "Well, you're not going to be driving all over the place, right?" And I'm like, "The only thing I'm going to have to drive to, which is going to be expensive, is wherever I decide to summer, Here's the problem. I leave here the end of August. It's hotter in Hades all over the country, and I have no idea what Brimfield's going to be like. I don't do well in the heat. And I'm having a lot of trouble with my back. I just don't know. But let's not go there. You know what? It's one day at a time, and at times it's 1 minute at a time. You just take it as it comes. But I have a plan, and I feel like, for persons who have gotten into low-income housing, there's so much help. It's when you're not in housing that the trouble begins. Yeah. But if you're paying a lower rent and then welfare uses a particular formula, and they take a little off the top, like $169 is thrown aside, and then from there, if you have any extra medical bills, those are taken off, 35% of those, and then they figure out, they feel like whatever your balance is after rent and utilities, that's your balance. 30% of that is what they want you to spend on food. And if it's over their amount, you don't get any food stamps. So sometimes it depends where you're living. Sometimes you get more when you end up broke each month. You know, I don't know. So I wanted to shout out to a couple people. I wanted to thank Mildred Wilcox. I really liked Jersey and her Nomads on YouTube, and I subscribed to her. I liked her earlier videos where she's talking about her little camper setup. She has a little cargo trailer that they fixed all up. It's very cool. It's a great idea. And I also wanted to say that I've been watching Holly B. Tech Lady in her Honda Odyssey. She made a little camper. I'm considering a minivan. I want to thank Robynspeaks. Was it Robynspeaks? Robynspeaks sent me Tiny House Giant Journey, and she sent me the 1985 Railroad Trailer Tiny House video on Tiny House Giant Journey, and I'd already subscribed to that because it popped up in my feed last night, and I liked the video so much that I passed it on to my younger daughter Bonnie, because this woman works for the state of California, working in the state parks, and I'm like, that's not a bad gig. So I sent it to Bonnie just as like an idea, consider working for the state parks, because she's into the environment, and she's behind a desk and she's not real happy about it, and I can hear it in her voice. And she's an outdoor girl, Though I would hate to see her outdoors in the winter like she was last winter. That was very, very hard work. She was working for one of those environmental companies that go in so the EPA doesn't fine a company. And they go in and they test wells and things like that. And she was hauling, little teeny tiny person, like, I don't know, she's like, 115 pounds, hauling these gigantic pieces of equipment out into the snow, standing out there for hours, freezing her little ever-lovins off. You gotta consider everything, right? And then I would like to address Odono about my Greek heritage. So I guess that's what the majority of my video this morning is going to be about. I always thought I was a pure-blooded Greek until I had my daughter's DNA tested with, what the heck is the name of that company? I don't recommend them anymore. They changed their platform totally. Family Tree DNA. And back then they had a very cool option where you could get all your tribes through your DNA, all your tribes over like 1,000 years or so. And I did Bonnie's DNA. And of course that was the maternal DNA. At that time they didn't have the one that did both. And what was I saying? I found that a lot of, she's 85% British from all over the Isles. And I knew this because years ago, before computers, I went to the Dover, New Hampshire library, and I wanted to understand my name. I wanted to understand my background. I wanted more about who I was. I wanted to follow it as far back as I could. So I started with my father's name. And then I went to my mother's name. And then I did Dennis's side. And what I found was the name Kanelopulu. And I kept asking Greeks that I'd meet along the way, and I'd say, hey, what does Kanelopulu mean? And they'd say it doesn't mean anything. And I knew that wasn't correct. So when I started researching, I found that Opulu means descended from. I'm like, descended from Kane or Cain? So I started looking up the name Cain, and I found some very interesting information. Cain is pre-Irish. If you understand Ireland history, it was broken up into little factions, and Ulster was where the people called O'Kane, O'Mullen came from. Now, what happened was the people that I'm from were warriors. No wonder I have an attitude all the time. I'm starting to understand myself. And they, I guess, thought they would go against Rome, and they lost. The Visigoths, those were the good Goths. There was Ostrogoths, which were more of an Eastern culture, and they were a little wild and mean. And then there were the Visigoths, who just wanted to be left alone, but they had an entanglement with Rome. Rome took them and dispersed them, and our people were put down into Carthage, which is now Greece. So while our people must have gone there, there's no Greek DNA in my blood. But we were in Greece for hundreds of years. Now, my mother's father was, his name derives from Phoenicia, which is in the Greece area. So he would be more of a pure blood Greek. And he looked it. Now, my father had a Middle Eastern look, and I come to find that 5% of me is Middle Eastern. And of the tribe of Judah. Jewish is a misnomer because there's Jewish, the religion, and then there are Jews that are more of a Turkish and Russian descent. They actually were at the steppes of southern Russia. And so, if to know history is to understand that the tribe of Judah and the Jewish religion are two different things. So while I'm of the tribe of Judah, I do not consider myself Jewish. I'm of Christian origin, because there's still that 85% that's Brit. And Ireland, when you say Brit, I mean Scotland, Ireland, and what's the other one? Whatever. So, sorry. I'm tired. I got up at 5. I don't know why I got up at 5. I went to bed at 11. So, yeah, while my people have been in Greece for hundreds of years, that is not our origin. So, that goes all back to, I don't believe in the caveman theory. I don't feel that science has proven that. They find little bits and pieces and glue it together and say this is our ancestor. I'm sorry, I can't buy that. I need better proof. The skeletons they've found from 15,000 years ago out in Washington, the Kennewick Man and things like that, they're clearly not cavemen. They're not apes. They are human beings, some of them with red hair. Yeah, that was left. And, they were well preserved. But of course, that sort of stuff, they won't allow it to be, it's not politically correct. So they've taken all that and they've hid it away. Even though people wanted to find out who they were. So, society's weird. So, yeah, but let me talk a little bit about the areas of Greece I'm from. My people are, well, some were in the villages, and I just can't remember which ones. Everybody's died. And I didn't, my mother was very ashamed that her people were from the village. And, yeah, which is sad, because I spent about a year in a village with a Greek soldier that I wasn't really in love with, but I cared for him, And, what was I saying? I went to Greece to check out my heritage after my father died, and I stayed in Moscato, Athens. And I learned Greek fluently. I picked it up in 3 months. I'm really good with languages if I'm immersed. I don't know if I am anymore. My mind is like, but, oh boy, it was tough. I didn't realize how, I can't even describe it, but me being an American and my family being Greek, oh boy. They thought I was supposed to be protected at the age of 20 and like sheltered in an apartment and like have like, what do you call it? Chaperones? I was like, I've been doing the bars since I was 18. Are you joking? It didn't go well, and I had to move out, and I became a nanny. And that was very oppressive. I only got 1 day off a week, and it wasn't enough. So I ended up going back to Athens. I was on the outskirts of Athens as a nanny. I went back to Athens, and I started working in a restaurant, doing dishes and prep work and things like that. And that's where I met my soldier, and he said, I have to do my 2 years. That was mandatory military, and I'm going up to this this village north of Orestiava, and so I said, I'll go with you. But I didn't last long because I was restless soul. So, yeah, that's about the long and short of it. My mother's father owned a tavern in Moscato, and he was a gambler and gambled the tavern away, but they were able to retain the apartment upstairs. And he died at the age of 50 because I think, I don't know, a bad heart, I guess, is an issue, because my father was 48 when he died, and I think they were treating him for the wrong thing. And anyway, he had an aneurysm in his brain, and that was pretty much it. It sounded very much like a stroke when I read his medical records later, but they couldn't figure it out, and he died. So that was his family, and I don't know who's left because it was left on very bad terms when I left Athens, and it's a damn shame, but we lost contact. So anyhow, what else can be said? My mother's side of the family is a very odd story. Naturally, my mother's mother came over when she was 14 to America, and my mother's father I don't know enough about. I just don't. My mother's mother has a lot of French in her. So she wasn't obviously an original Greek either. But her people must have ended up there. Maybe they were captured as well. I have 23andMe. I have a DNA test that I really got to remember to take before I eat or drink anything in the morning. I have to spit in a tube. I like the one where you brush the side of your cheek better. But this is a spit test, and I'm going to learn some more about me and possibly some medical things. I got the test for a really cheap price. It was like 50% off, and I said, I've always wanted to do it for me. I'd like to know a little bit more about me, and I'll be able to go a little further back. And it's a really good test and gives you a lot of information, including heritage, plus health. So I figured, have a look at that, because my father's mother had Parkinson's, and that's concerning because like 5% or 10% can be hereditary. So, I'm sorry if this was a boring video. It's just a little bit of history about me and a little bit about, what I've been watching on YouTube. I'm trying to get as many ideas as possible for my master plan, which, the end result of what I'm looking for in my life is a place I can age, a place where if I get too sick or too broken, someone can come into the house, because as I have researched nursing homes and assisted living for poor people that can't afford the nice ones, it is not a pretty picture. The owners of these places are billionaires, and they are not generous. As a matter of fact, one of my viewers commented, she was Bonnie, she commented that she was in Florida as a nurse in a nursing home. They wouldn't even turn on the air conditioning. And I've heard too many stories, in the news about not feeding people. And we saw what COVID pandemic brought, the deaths that occurred in nursing homes. They're just, they're just a harbor for illness. And I was watching a YouTube documentary on nursing homes, and a very, very sad, I can understand why Dennis said to me, no, you'll forget me. You'll put me in a nursing home. They'll shove me in the corner, drug me, and I'll be forgotten. Oh, bless you, Dennis. I would have never forgotten you. I was touring nursing homes and looking around. Oh, my God, I've gone from one subject to another. How am I going to title this one? I don't know. I was looking at nursing homes before Dennis died, and he knew I was looking, because I was like, Dennis, my back is bad. When you're laid out, I'm not going to be able to lift you. And you couldn't count on hospice. They'll come in a lineup, well, we've got this one at 7, this one at 8, we got this one at 9, we'll see you about 12, and he'll be, with shit in his pants. I'm sorry, but if that were to happen, God forbid it didn't. And this is why I am so pro the right to die, the right to choose the time of death. No, I don't believe God's going to say, no, you got to wait 3 more weeks before you can go. What's it going to matter? You think it matters to God whether you go now or you go 3 weeks from now? I don't get it. I don't see it, okay? That's just me. But nursing homes and hospice, and I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I don't want someone wiping my butt. No, I don't want that. That's not dignity. I want to die with dignity. I do. But I don't know how I get to this from, where am I? Anyhow, where are we at? 24 minutes, and I'd say this is good enough. So, with that, I'm going to go. I'm probably going to review this and see if I even should publish it. It was like a little But you know me. So, yeah. Oh, one other thing. Mildred Wilcox did ask me about the ads. Should you watch the beginning ad and the end ad? Because I chose the skippable ads because I hate it when I'm forced to watch an ad. I hate it. So I have the skippable ads and never in the middle of my videos. I don't think I'm going to go there. I've thought about it. They can do like a quick non-skippable in the middle, but I don't know if you can adjust how many. I haven't seen that yet, maybe because I didn't click the non-skippable ads. If I find I'm going to need money, I might have to in the months to come. I don't know. I'll have to see. I have to see how this all plays out. I've almost hit $100 in the 28-day period, and I'm really thrilled about that because I get paid at $100. I didn't know that earlier until someone mentioned it, and then I looked it up, and yeah, that's true. So yeah, I don't know about the end ad if you watch it, if that helps me. If you want to, I appreciate it. Just your viewing, your thumbs up, adding subscribers, saying to friends, hey, I want you to watch this lady, and pick a good one so that maybe they will subscribe, because one like this might be totally boring to most people, but I thought I'd cover it. It was something that was requested by a viewer, and I really do try to accommodate y'all. Okay, now I'm done. That's my story, sticking to it. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.